The cold, sticky liquid runs down Isabella's face, blinding her for a moment. The strong, sweet smell of orange juice invades her nostrils, mixing with the sharp, cruel sound of laughter. The initial shock gives way to a stinging in her eyes, and then to a humiliation that burns more than anything else. She clutches her hand over her prominently round belly, an instinctive gesture to protect the most precious thing she carries. In front of her, the woman in the hot pink dress, Brittany, holds the empty glass with a victorious smile, her arms still extended in the air as if she had just performed a great feat. Beside her, the man Isabella once loved, Robert, points a finger at her, his mouth wide open in a laugh that echoes through the park. The other guests, once friendly faces, now contort in laughter and whispers, turning what should have been a celebration into a public tribunal. The afternoon sun in Boise, Idaho, which had previously warmed the skin pleasantly, now seems to mock her, illuminating every detail of her disgrace. Every laugh is like a knife, every look of contempt, a blow. The light blue dress she had chosen with such care for the baby shower is now stained, clinging to her body, revealing not only her advanced pregnancy but her total vulnerability. She is alone, surrounded by wolves dressed as friends and family, and the world seems to have shrunk to that picnic table in the middle of Ann Morrison Park. What they don't know is that the orange juice wasn't the only thing spilled that afternoon. The truth was also about to come out, and it would be much harder to clean up. Now, I ask you to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the unfolding of stories like this. And tell me, from what city or country are you watching me from? It's very important for me to know how far this story is reaching. That baby shower was supposed to be the happiest day of Isabella's life. After years of trying to conceive, the arrival of her first child was a dream come true. Robert, her husband, seemed like the perfect man. A successful real estate agent, always impeccably dressed, driving a luxury car, and promising her a life of comfort and security. They lived in a spacious house in Boise's North End, a charming neighborhood with tree-lined streets and an air of prosperity. Robert was the provider, the pillar of the family, and Isabella, a graphic designer who gave up her career to dedicate herself to the dream of being a mother, trusted him blindly. The party in the park was his idea. "Let's celebrate our boy with everyone we love, honey," he had said, with that smile that used to melt her. He invited his business partners, longtime friends, and of course his family. Among the guests was Brittany, Robert's distant cousin, who had moved to Boise a few months ago. Isabella had welcomed her with open arms, offering friendship and support. Brittany was stunning, always dressed in designer clothes, like that fuchsia Diane von Furstenberg dress she was wearing today, and constantly talked about her travels and achievements. Isabella, with her simple nature, never felt envy, only admiration. Little did she know that behind that friendly smile and expensive clothes, a web of lies and betrayal was hidden. The party was going pleasantly. Expensive gifts piled up on a blanket, including an imported baby stroller and a noble wood crib that cost a small fortune. The conversations were light, the sun was shining, and a gentle breeze swayed the leaves of the trees. It was then that Brittany stood up to propose a toast. "To Isabella," she began, her voice falsely sweet, "who finally managed to give Robert what he wanted so much." The sentence sounded strange, but Isabella smiled, not understanding the malice that was to come. "But let's be honest," Brittany continued, her tone shifting to something sharp. "We all know this baby isn't the only heir in play, right?" Silence fell over the table. Robert turned pale. It was then that Brittany, with a quick and deliberate movement, threw the glass of juice over Isabella's head. The humiliation was instant and overwhelming. The laughter that followed, led by Robert, was the confirmation of the nightmare. There, soaked and exposed, Isabella understood that the betrayal was much deeper than she had imagined. It wasn't just about an affair. It was about power, money, and a family conspiracy to destroy her. As the drops of orange juice still dripped from her hair, A clear, cold thought cut through Isabella's fog of humiliation. She would not cry. Not there. Not in front of them. With a calmness that surprised even herself, she turned and began to walk away from the table, ignoring the mocking calls. Each step was an affirmation of her newfound strength. That act of cruelty had not broken her. On the contrary, it had ignited a flame within her, a flame of justice. When she got home, the first thing she did was not take a shower but go straight to Robert's office. The office was his sanctuary, a place where he kept his most protected secrets, locked in a state-of-the-art safe and in digital files protected by complex passwords. But Robert, in his arrogance, had underestimated the woman he lived with. Isabella was not just a dedicated housewife, she was a keen observer. For years, she had watched him type passwords, overheard snippets of phone conversations, and noticed discrepancies in his stories. Small pieces of a puzzle she never knew she was assembling. The computer password, for example, was the name of his first boat, Legacy, a name he proudly repeated at business dinners. Inside the files, what she found was devastating. Emails exchanged between Robert and Brittany detailed not only a love affair, but a meticulous plan. They were siphoning money from Robert's company into an overseas account in Brittany's name. The house they lived in, which Isabella believed was their family home, was about to be sold for a value far below the market to a shell company controlled by Brittany, leaving Isabella with nothing after the divorce they planned to file for shortly after the baby's birth. But the most shocking discovery was in a hidden folder called Family Insurance. There, she found documents proving that Robert's father, a man who posed as a respectable retired businessman, had built his initial fortune through fraudulent schemes involving the appropriation of land from low-income families in the region. Robert and his siblings knew everything and used this information to blackmail their own father, ensuring a generous allowance and a blind eye to their own dirty dealings. The entire family was involved in a house of cards built on lies and greed. Isabella felt the ground disappear from under her feet. The betrayal was not just from her husband, but from the entire family structure that had welcomed her. If you have ever felt betrayed by someone you trusted, leave a like on this video so I know you understand Isabella's pain. With trembling hands, she copied all the files to a flash drive. That small device contained the dynamite that would blow up that family's life of luxury and lies. Isabella wasted no time. The next morning, with the evidence in hand, she sought out the best lawyer in Boise, a man known for his tenacity and for not being afraid to take on the city's powerful elite. Upon seeing the documents, the lawyer's eyes widened. "Ma'am," he said, with grim seriousness, "this isn't just a divorce case. This is fraud, conspiracy, money laundering. We have enough here to dismantle an empire." The strategy was drawn up. They wouldn't just go to family court. They would take the case to the criminal and civil spheres. The first action was to freeze all of Robert's and his company's assets, including the overseas account. The news hit like a bombshell. Robert, who was celebrating his victory with Brittany, was caught off guard when his platinum credit cards were declined and his bank accounts were blocked. Panic set in. He called Isabella, his voice alternating between threats and pleas, but she didn't answer. The second phase of the plan was to expose the truth. Isabella's lawyer called a meeting with Robert, his father, and their lawyers. In the conference room, the atmosphere was tense. Robert and his father walked in with the arrogance of those who believe they are untouchable. That's when Isabella's lawyer began to present the evidence, one by one. The emails, the bank transfers, the documents from the shell company, and finally, the proof of the family patriarch's original fraud. The color drained from Robert's father's face. Robert's arrogance crumbled, replaced by pure terror. The family that had laughed at Isabella's humiliation was now cornered, facing the ruin of everything they had built. The news spread like wildfire through Boise's elite. The scandal made headlines in the local newspapers. The family, once seen as a pillar of the community, was exposed as a sham. Robert and his father faced criminal charges. Brittany, seeing that the ship was sinking, disappeared, likely living off what little money she managed to save. Isabella, on the other hand, gave birth to a beautiful, healthy baby boy. In the divorce settlement, she received a substantial portion of the legitimate assets, enough to ensure a comfortable and secure future for her and her son, far from the toxicity of that family. She sold the house in the North End and bought a smaller, cozier property where she finally found the peace she so deserved. This story shows us that humiliation can be the trigger for the biggest turnaround of our lives. The strength Isabella found within herself is a reminder that even in the darkest moments, we are capable of rewriting our destiny. What would you do in Isabella's place? Would you have the same courage to expose the whole truth, even if it meant a war against a powerful family? Leave your opinion in the comments, as your perspective is very valuable. And if you have ever been through a situation where you had to start over from scratch, share a bit of your story with us. If you feel comfortable, your experiences can inspire others who are going through difficult times. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss any emotional stories like this one. Your subscription is the greatest encouragement for me to continue bringing content that touches the soul and makes us reflect. If you've made it this far, I've left a story that I'm sure you'll like. It's here on the screen. Just click on this video that's appearing for you. See you there. A big hug, and until next time.